I've asked Travis Weber to join me, and we're just going to dissect this information, this disinformation that Senator Tillis has put out about the Disrespect for Marriage Act. Travis, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Tony.
I don't know if you've noticed, but this is really irritating to me. Because
so.
this is, I don't think these senators and these members of Congress who voted for this realize what they're doing to this nation by taking the institution that God created and redefining into law what God has called an abomination.
Yeah, it's a tragic day, and Senator Tillis' attempted defense of his position is shameful. I read through what he's sending to constituents trying to defend his position on religious freedom. And I have a piece up at the Washington Stand dissecting it. The most ridiculous claim is his attempted response to the question, did you support Senator Mike Lee's amendment? He goes on to say, I supported Mike Lee's amendment. The amendment failed, and it would have protected religious freedom. At pretty much end of his response. And my analysis of that, Tony, is we know he could have taken the position that unless the amendment was in there, he's against the bill. He doesn't address that. He just tries to make it look like he's defending Lee. But then, by the way, he also supported the current text of the bill, which is insufficient. And as I explained, the Lee Amendment would have protected all these entities he's now thrown under the bus, trying to make it look like he's not throwing them under the bus. But there's a number of points in here in which he is trying to defend this as supportive of religious freedom. It's just all wrong.
Let me take some of this. Okay, so in his letter back to constituents who reached out to him, he says, a key reason why I worked to amend the Respect for Marriage Act was to ensure that federal law expressly acknowledges that people of good faith could disagree about marriage, and that federal law protects religious institutions and nonprofits from being forced to violate their beliefs. Okay, first, this would not even be an issue of concern if the bill did not pass.
Oh, yeah.
And it only passed because 10 Republicans in the Senate, led by Senator Tillis, made it pass.
Right.
So it would not even have been an issue.
Wouldn't have been an issue. This claim that this is robust, I've seen that word elsewhere. Other senators are somebody's circulating talking points, getting senators to go around saying it's the most robust. It's only robust because it's the only thing that Congress has passed significantly on religious freedom because the Democrats are blocking legitimate protections like Senator Mike Lee's First Amendment Defense Act. So the fact that this is in a field of one, you're saying it's robust because you're comparing it to nothing. That's what they're doing. That very fact shows we need protections. Furthering the case, he should have taken the position, unless this is in the bill, he's not supporting it.
It would not have been a threat had they not passed the bill.
Exactly.
So they created a problem, and then they said, oh, I've got the solution. But it is an inferior solution. Number one, and he admits here, but he doesn't go on to explain, he said this protects religious institutions and nonprofits. The problem with that, Travis, that we've talked about, the First Amendment was not to institutions but individuals.
It's not, and just going back to the robust point, Mississippi's Protecting Freedom from Conscience and Government Discrimination Act is robust. So if leaders want a robust protection, they go to that. They go to the First Amendment Defense Act. To your point, those entities are not the scope of the First Amendment, nor are they even fully protected by this.
They are protected from institutions are a collection of people. And as individuals, we have religious freedom, and we can come together in an organization and exercise our religious freedom. But as individuals, what this falls short of, and he acknowledges that the Lee Amendment, in fact, he says the Lee Amendment went further than what we offered by protecting individuals. Well, that's the point.
Yeah, and his refusal to accept that throws Jack Phillips, Barronell Stutzman under the bus. It throws everyone else under the bus, including those entities, so religious nonprofits, to be clear. We want to protect them, but this doesn't even fully protect them. It only protects them if they're furthering a religious purpose and in the context of solemnization of marriage. It doesn't protect, as my reading of this does not protect a college. It says we have a code of conduct for dormitories between same-sex couples. We don't allow it. They're not even protected.
Only the act of marriage.
The act of solemnization. And no one is asking churches to do that.
That
right now.
is the least threat that we face.
It's not even a threat right now. If someone wants to
And
address
I don't
threats,
think I don't think that's good. I don't think anyone's going to walk into a church and tell a pastor, "I want you. You're going to have to marry me and my husband."
they're not doing it.
No.
If they could produce lists of this, we'd look at it. But the threats are the 7 years of litigation after Obergefell.
What we were just what I was at the Supreme Court on Monday about with Lisa Smith or Lori Smith.
Yeah, the 303 creative case. That's an indication of where we've been. It's the type of thing that Mike Lee's amendment would have protected, and the type of thing that Thom Tillis has chosen to not protect. So the attempted defense, it's laughable, but also sad, because this bill's passage of the House today, we're entering a new era, and he helped make it happen.
Right, him, Senator Blunt,
The
Lummis,
12 Republicans
the
who made
12
this happen.
Republicans in the Senate. There were fewer Republicans voting for it in the House today, which was the result of, folks, I want to thank you, and that was intentional. We wanted to see the number drop. It did drop because they heard from you, and I know because I was talking to members every day, and I heard it, and so that was encouraging to a degree. But the fact is, this is going to be the law. It's going to go to Joe Biden, and he will gleefully celebrate it and pass it, just as they danced around Sodom and Gomorrah. He'll be dancing. I'm telling you, folks, this as Travis says, this brings us into a new era of the spiritual condition of our nation. And if this is not a wake-up call to our nation of how we are dangerously dancing on the precipice of destruction, morally and spiritually. I mean, look what's happening to our children. You cannot disconnect these types of policies from what's happening in our classrooms, where children are being targeted with this radical sexual ideology. They're confused, they're bewildered, they're bullied, and they are experiencing record levels of anxiety, of depression, and suicide attempts because of this agenda.
Tony, this is a day that there is a lot happening that we need to be sober about, prayerful about, and our people who have, thankfully, the people who are supporting us, listening to us, have since the summer have sent hundreds of 565,000 emails to their leaders. They have faithfully played a part in this. No matter the result, we've stood for the truth. And that's what we have to do. I was watching Steny Hoyer on the House floor today.
Oh,
the double speak is amazing.
Let me play that clip. I've got that clip. I want to play that clip because it was a mockery. Let me see if where is it? It is clip 15, please.
Somehow, we would interpose our own judgment. Denying that all people are created equal and endowed by their Creator, not by us, not by the Constitution, by their Creator, with certain unalienable rights. And among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Certainly pursuit of happiness means that you can love whom you choose.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tony, it's almost like he's trying to stand in the place of the language of our Creator and turning it on its head. I mean, that is playing with fire there, trying to appeal, making it look like he's appealing to God, and he is sticking his finger in God's eye with this, because they are twisting the language of God on its head.
And our documents of this nation and what they were intended to do.
Yeah.
Our documents were intended to have a well-ordered society. John Adams saying our Constitution is for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate for the government of any other. And I know, Travis, we're talking about this in the left likes to get this, and they're going to mock it and ridicule it. You know what? And that's fine. That's fine, because we are standing on truth. But I do want to encourage our people. As you said, we've responded. We've done what we can. We've changed some minds in this process. But we need to pray. This really does put our nation in our society in a very dangerous place. But remember, and I mentioned Sodom and Gomorrah, and I know that'll send off, the heads of the left will explode with that. But God said he would spare Sodom and Gomorrah for 10 righteous.
Yep.
And so I think we need to be praying for God's mercy on this nation and praying that the eyes of those who are pushing this agenda will be opened.
Yeah.
And that they might come to know the truth, that these children will not be led down this path of destruction.
Yeah, Tony, there was a ton of deception on the House floor today, but as I was watching, I realized, Jesus has not given up on those Jesus wants Steny Hoyer to turn to him and recognize him, and he will have to face him if he doesn't. And that is out of the, we need to call the attention of all to the reality of the Lordship of Jesus Christ under what he has set forth as his expectation. And so, I don't envy those who are knowingly departing from that and have to answer for it. But it's out of a heart. He wants them to turn.
Right. And Abraham didn't need to, but he interceded because he wanted to.
Yeah.
Because he had a heart of compassion, just as God has a heart of compassion. And so, yes, our hearts are heavy. We're grieved by this. We're angered by it. And I think anger is acceptable.
People
Righteous
are going
indignation.
to suffer the consequences.
Our children.
Yeah.
Our children are going to suffer the consequences. But our hearts need to be for mercy for those who have made these decisions, and we need to pray that God would have mercy on this nation. Travis Weber, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate all the work that you and your team did to try to stop Congress from taking these steps.
Thank you.